Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. Peter Biancamano, back in the host chair and back at the beautiful offices of Hudson River Care and Counseling, located at 310 Cedar Lane in Teaneck, New Jersey, and 63A 8th Street in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And I am going to shoot it out right to our guest host today, and that is Yudy Cid, who's been on the program before. She's joined by another team member at Hudson River Care and Counseling, Sue Kim. Yudy, take it away.
Thank you, Peter. I'm so delighted to share this time in our lives with you where we are actually making history because we're now focusing on the minority mental health. Yes, you probably heard a lot in the news, everywhere. It has become a mainstream topic, mental health, but now you're going to hear it from us, from the minority mental health. And with me is Sue. He is a clinician here at a student clinician rather, here at Hudson River Care and Counseling Center. And he is completing his master's in marriage and
family therapy.
Family therapy.
That's right.
And I am Yudy Cid. I had been a coach for more than 10-year life coach. And during the pandemic, I said, I want to focus and give out more. I realized so many of the issues that my community, I'm from the Latino community, faces. And I decided I want to give more and expand. And I am here serving as a clinician at Hudson River Care and Counseling Center. And I'm so happy that we have a diverse group, and this is part of it. Yeah. Thank you, Sue, for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And so you focus, why out of all the focuses on mental health, why you picked family and couples?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I grew up in a Korean American household, being from an immigrant household where my parents are first generation Korean immigrants. And then, growing up in the States, clearly there's a distance. Distance not just in our age, but also our culture, our background, as well as the things that we were comfortable speaking about in the household. And just recognizing that my experience is unique, but still also most likely relatable to a lot of different Asian American households. Sure. Where the children in the second generation, they have a bit of a distance with their parents. And when it comes to the topic of therapy or counseling, or when it comes to just speaking about issues within mental health, there hasn't been much familiarity or comfort for someone in the younger generation to bring that up towards their parents. And recognizing that, wow, if I grew up with this, and then hearing from my friends that they also had this kind of experience, I recognize that we need to make this more of a commonplace thing so that we can talk about counseling, therapy, we can talk about mental health and not it be stigmatized, not it be something that people can't just comfortably share. And then hopefully families don't just develop comfort around, but they develop the language, the practices to work on these things and to really equip these families with the tools that we learn as clinicians, and hopefully give them to the families so that they can learn and just make this more commonplace.
Yes, you mentioned tool. And what has been the most, I would say, successful tool that you can share with us so that any other family that is listening might also be able to pick up?
Yeah, that's a great question. With families, I find that they always recognize one person, most likely one of the children, to be the IP, the identified patient, the one that's like, all right, this is the issue, and we want you to fix the kid. We'll come in the guise of family counseling, but in reality, they're thinking it's just, we want to help you, we need help solving the issues with our kid. So that's what families come in with.
Families.
But you recognize, and you're trying to teach and equip the families to recognize, hey, there are systems in place. There are communication issues. There are boundaries issues. There's triangulation, meaning relationship between two people and it may be dedicated towards one kid, and different triangles in a family.
So basically the family dynamics within the Korean community.
Yeah.
Well, for me in the Latino community, it's very similar because family, it's one of our core values.
Yep.
So when we think of mental health, we don't just look at it as an individual. Like for example, when I am working with let's say, Anglo people, they focusing on themselves and careers, right? But when I speak with, when I'm talking, working with, let's say it could be a couple or a mother or a father, they're talking about themselves and the family
That's
as
right.
well. So that was one of the core values. So it makes us knowing that when we see that individual, we're looking at the whole family all at once as well.
For sure. And just seeing the need for therapy to just be more regular and commonplace amongst the Asian American households is so important, but also in marriage therapy.
Okay.
So, a lot of people, if they're Asian Americans, they may grow up in different religious contexts and they may go through some form of premarital counseling, but a lot of them don't. And then what you're doing when you're doing counseling for a married couple, oftentimes you're doing catch up, where it's because they haven't discussed these issues in
Yes,
advance.
yes.
They haven't discussed topics of finances. They haven't discussed topics of sex, discussing in-laws and all these other things, and they just assume that the other person, hey, if my spouse loves me, then
Yes.
they should believe and think in the same way that I do. When in reality, we all know that people will obviously have different backgrounds, different family of origins, and therefore have different just thoughts and expectations when they talk about family and marriage. So counseling then offers them the medium to discuss all these things, to put it out in the open, so that, you know what, conflict is good, but let's make sure that we're able to address conflict properly and to be able to deal with it in a positive way.
Thank you, Sue. In my part of the world, in the Latino context, what we see is not only we call it marriage, but in my part of the world, because we have in other issues as well, meaning with, let's say, paper, also access to mental health, and also the language barrier. Those are the main topics. But now it's growing. Many more people are doing the acculturization for us, for the Latino. And there is not only the language, it's not only, oh, let me learn Spanish, but there's also a cultural background involving it. And I could see that there's a more positive attitude towards mental health. And there's so many efforts that it's being done to really reach my community, particularly here in Hudson River Care and Counseling Center, that Dr. Pan is very focused on, that we have many more other people from different languages. And that's important, that there is that voice and that people understand that they have choices as well. And that people, and I love it that it's not only individual counseling. We here also offer groups, small groups. There's so many other varieties, classes also, mental health classes for the community as well. So every month we're focusing on something extra besides one-on-one counseling that we can offer to our diverse community.
It's true. With Hudson River Care and Counseling, I've had the privilege of counseling people from various ethnic backgrounds. So I've had the privilege of counseling to Latino men and women. And what's been great is the fact that in the very beginning sessions, I let them know, hey, I may not be familiar with all parts of your culture and how families work and marriages work, but what I'm so thankful for is that it's a time for me to be humble, to learn, and then still instill and share the counseling core concepts that, because those are universal, but now understanding where people are coming from and their ethnic and cultural backgrounds, that's helping me as a clinician too. And in light of Minority Mental Health Month, it's like, wow, we get to really celebrate this, and we get to take part in becoming better clinicians through a diverse client base.
Thank you, Sue, for the work that you do, for your focus, and for giving back to your community. And thank you, you guys, for listening to us. And we love that you pay attention to your mental health, because mental health is wealth. And it's the new form of richness, because, I mean, if you're not well, if you don't have your thoughts together, if you don't have a sense of belonging, happiness, and all these things, then many of the other things don't make sense. So here we are to help you and support you. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you so much, Yudy and Sue, for sharing your words of wisdom. For anybody who is looking for the help they need that Yudy and Sue can provide over at Hudson River Care and Counseling, make sure you visit our friends there with the information that we have on the screen right next to me. Technology these days. All right, folks, join us next week for the Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. I hope you have a great week, everybody.